Ineos, the UK's largest private company by sales, announced early this year it will stop all investment in Britain and redirect spending to the United States. Founded by Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who also part-owns Manchester United, Ineos is a global petrochemical giant with a major footprint in the UK economy. If the country's biggest private company says the UK is no longer investable, that matters. And that is something the UK and the Treasury needs to take seriously. If a company the size of Ineos decides that Britain is no longer the right place to invest, it raises a straightforward question: why is the UK losing major investors instead of attracting them? The country needs to be investable, it needs to be competitive, it needs to be a place businesses come to, not a place they increasingly move away from. This is not about one company leaving, it's about what that departure represents. Large firms do not shift investment overseas without substantial reasons. Decisions like this usually point to deeper concerns about the business environment: high taxes, inconsistent policy direction, regulatory pressure, energy costs, and uncertainty about long-term returns. If these issues remain unaddressed, more companies will reach the same conclusion. For the UK economy to grow, it must create conditions where businesses feel confident putting money into the country. That means a stable policy, clear tax structures, predictable regulation, and a government that understands the needs of industry. If the UK fails to correct course, the Ineos move will not be a one-off event. It will signal a wider trend that Britain can't afford. Brian Gilvary, chairman of Ineos Energy, put it bluntly: "We have stopped investing in Britain. Our future investment will not be in the UK. There's no question of that." These are not comments made casually. They come after a series of setbacks for the company in the UK, including the closure of the Grangemouth oil refinery in Scotland after more than 100 years of operation. That refinery was part of the backbone of UK energy supply, but Ineos concluded it could no longer operate profitably. The company has also warned that its adjacent olefins and polymers plant, which supplies hundreds of British manufacturers with essential materials, is also under serious threat. Sir Jim Ratcliffe himself pointed to energy as a major reason for this retreat, stating that Britain's high energy prices, mostly caused by green levies, are making such plants impossible to run profitably. The chemical industry is in crisis. Take this clip from Sky News back in September, which illustrates just how sharply the sector had declined in September.
Look at what's happened to chemicals. Just in the last 2 years, look at that line. Down basically, that's actually down by 20% compared with only back in 2022, so kind of two and a half, 3 years ago.
Brian Gilvary highlighted the second pillar of the problem. He stated, "The problem is that the UK has become one of the most unstable fiscal regimes in the world from a perspective of natural resources and energy. It means we cannot invest with any certainty because we can't be sure what future tax rates will be." These quotes give us the core reasons as to why Ineos will no longer be investing in the UK: crippling energy costs and an unstable tax regime. Let's begin with tax. Britain's North Sea oil and gas operators have been subjected to a windfall tax that was first introduced by the Conservatives at 75% and then increased by Labour's Chancellor Rachel Reeves to 78%. For context, the headline rate means nearly 4/5 of profit is taken away by the state, though in practice, companies can reduce their bill significantly if they reinvest profits into UK energy projects thanks to generous allowances. For companies making long-term investments, this is a nightmare. Oil and gas fields, refineries, and pipelines are not short-term bets. They require billions up front, and companies expect to recover those costs over 20 or 30 years. When government change tax rates so dramatically, companies cannot predict their returns. What is most concerning about Brian Gilvary's response is why they are leaving. He highlights the UK's unstable tax regime as a key reason. In his words, "It means we cannot invest with any certainty because we can't be sure what future tax rates will be." Business Secretary Peter Kyle said in recent years, doctors, entrepreneurs and billionaires had left the country. "I'm worried whenever somebody feels that they have to leave the UK in order to succeed," he told Sky News when asked about the super rich leaving the UK after a report that steel tycoon Lakshmi Mittal is departing.
And I guess this is a genuine question. Are you worried, honestly, about some of the super rich leaving the UK, or if they're not prepared to pay the amount of taxes that you should think they should, do you not really care?
I am worried whenever somebody feels that they have to leave the UK in order to succeed. You know, we've gone through a period where loads of doctors, thousands of doctors, have left the country.
But just specifically, on the kind of billionaire thing, right?
No, I understand. So whenever anyone needs to leave the UK to succeed, I think it's a worry. What I don't want to do is be, as a country, just focus just on the billionaires, because there are other people that have needed to leave.
The Times reported Labour's tax rises have led to an exodus of wealthy Britons. The business secretary has admitted. Peter Kyle said he accepted that some of the decisions the party had made since taking office had caused some people to feel the need to leave. Asked if the wealthy were opting to leave because of tax decisions made by the government, he said, "Yes, I do." He added, "I'm not going to duck the fact that we have put up taxes and we've closed some of the loopholes for non-DOMs." It emerged over the weekend that Lakshmi Mittal, the Indian steel mogul who has dominated the Sunday Times rich list over the past 30 years, is the latest billionaire to leave the UK in response to Labour's shake-up of how the super rich are taxed. At its peak in 2008, Mittal's personal fortune was estimated at $27.7 billion, the biggest sum ever attributed to a single person on the rich list when adjusted for inflation. He is a co-owner of Queen's Park Rangers and previously donated £5 million to Labour. What makes this moment so concerning is not simply that isolated individuals are choosing to relocate, it's that a senior member of the government has openly acknowledged that the UK's own policies are pushing wealth, investment and entrepreneurial talent out of the country. When the business secretary admits that tax decisions have caused people to feel the need to leave, it signals a breakdown in confidence at the very top of the economic ladder. And once confidence at that level begins to fracture, the consequences spread far wider than most realise. High net worth individuals and major investors are not just wealthy figures sitting on personal fortunes, they are employers, they are founders, they are the backbone of entire sectors. When they leave, the UK doesn't just lose a resident, it loses capital, innovation, future tax revenue, and the industries that depend on their investment. We're now watching that risk unfold in real time. Lakshmi Mittal, once the wealthiest man in Britain and decades-long presence in the UK economy, is leaving. Revolut founder Nick Storonsky, one of the most influential figures in UK fintech, has moved his residency abroad. Tech entrepreneur Herman Narula is preparing to relocate. Senior investment leaders like Richard Node have already departed. These are not fringe names. These are individuals who helped define Britain's position as a global financial and entrepreneurial hub. When they leave, it's not only their personal wealth that goes with them, it's the businesses they build, the staff they employ, the startups they fund, and the industries that rely on their capital. A single billionaire exiting could be explained away, but multiple billionaires, finance leaders and founders leaving at the same time, and a cabinet minister confirming that government tax policy is playing a role, is a structural warning. It points to a deeper fear among investors, that the UK is no longer a predictable place to build long-term wealth. Last week, official data revealed more than 3 times the number of Britons left the country last year than previously recorded. There were 257,000 British nationals who left the country in the year ending December 2024, compared with the previous estimate of just 77,000. The Office for National Statistics revised the figures after a change in methodology. The numbers were previously based on the International Passenger Survey, but now use more robust data from the Department for Work and Pensions, which incorporates everyone with a national insurance number. The revised ONS figures showed that 257,000 British nationals left the country in the year ending December 2024, provide an important and more accurate picture of the current migration patterns. While people move abroad for many different reasons, work, family, lifestyle, or retirement, the scale revealed in the updated data highlights a trend that deserves thoughtful attention from policymakers. The fact that the original estimate was significantly lower, at just 77,000, means the UK has been operating with an incomplete understanding of how many citizens were relocating each year. The new methodology, drawing on national insurance records rather than the International Passenger Survey, offers a clearer and more reliable picture. This is valuable because accurate data is essential for planning public services, forecasting labour supply, and understanding changes in the workforce. Why is this trend noteworthy? Because when a larger number of British nationals choose to live abroad, it can subtly reshape the economy and society over time. People who leave often take skills, experience, and future economic activity with them. This can affect sectors that are already experiencing shortages and may reduce the pool of workers available for key industries. There are also fiscal considerations. A portion of those who relocate are working-age adults who contribute to tax revenues, support local economies, and participate in community life. If more people leave than expected, this can gradually influence public finances and the long-term balance between those funding public services and those drawing on them. It is equally important to recognise that mobility is a normal part of a globalised world. Many people return after gaining international experience, and others maintain close economic ties with the UK even while living abroad. Still, the updated figures encourage a closer look at why more citizens are choosing to leave and what can be done to ensure the UK remains an attractive place to work, invest and build a future. Brian Gilvary, chairman of Ineos Energy, stated, "The problem is that the UK has become one of the most unstable fiscal regimes in the world from a perspective of natural resources and energy. It means we cannot invest with any certainty because we can't be sure what future tax rates will be. That uncertainty is toxic. If you don't know what the government will take from your profits, you can't model cash flow. Without a predictable regime, investors simply look elsewhere. And they have. Harbour Energy, another major North Sea operator, scaled back investment in the UK for the same reasons. Total Energies has done the same. It's not just Ineos. The whole sector is losing confidence." By contrast, Gilvary pointed to the United States as the model of stability. For us, the future lies in other countries, mostly the United States. The United States has got a long track record. In the 1990s, it was producing 6.5 million barrels of oil a day and importing 5 million, but now it's producing oil and gas equivalent to 13 million barrels a day and exporting. That's energy security and a proper fiscal regime. Gilvary went further. The United States absolutely understands the importance of domestic supplies and how you can drive economic growth off the back of it, so that's the place where we'll be. For investors, the comparison is brutal. Britain is changing the rules and piling on taxes. The US is stable, growing, and offering clear policy direction. Companies go where the playing field makes sense. The second reason Ineos is leaving is energy. Ratcliffe did not hold back. Britain's high energy prices, mostly caused by green levies, are making such plants impossible to run profitably. This isn't just rhetoric, the numbers tell the story. Between January 2021 and the end of 2024, Britain's industrial electricity prices rose from 14.8p per kilowatt hour to 26p, a 75% increase in less than 4 years. Gas prices more than doubled in the same period, from 2.5p per kilowatt hour to 5.5p. Since 2021, the average electricity price for UK non-domestic users has increased sharply from 14.81 pence per kilowatt hour in 2021 quarter one to a peak of 28.39 pence per kilowatt hour in 2023 quarter four, a rise of over 90%. Since then, the average electricity price has fallen back to 25.97 pence kilowatt hour in 2024 quarter four. However, this is still 75% higher than the average price at the start of 2021. Put simply, energy in Britain is 5 times more expensive than in the US and 3 times higher than the EU average. The effect has been devastating. Energy-intensive industries, steel, glass, chemicals, plastics, have seen output collapse by 33%. When your bills swallow your profits, the business case disappears. This is why Ratcliffe is so blunt. If your energy costs are uncompetitive, you cannot keep running factories. It's not ideology, it's math. The closure of the Grangemouth refinery shows how these problems play out in practice. For more than 100 years, it was one of Scotland's industrial cornerstones. It provided fuel, jobs and security. But in 2025, it shut down. The UK didn't stop needing fuel. It still consumes huge volumes, but instead of producing it domestically, it will now import more. Imports are more expensive, more volatile and less secure. It's a direct hit to Britain's energy independence. Ineos also warned that its olefins and polymers plant at Grangemouth is under threat. If it shuts, hundreds of companies in the UK's plastic industry will struggle to source materials. Jobs, supply chains, and entire sectors will be affected. One closure ripples far beyond the gates of the refinery. The Ineos decision is more than a corporate reshuffle. It's a warning that the direction of the UK's economic landscape, when major employers, industry leaders, and long-established investors begin moving capital abroad, it signals deeper structural issues that cannot be ignored. Britain cannot afford to lose competitiveness through unstable policy, rising energy costs, and unpredictable taxation. Without a clear and confident strategy to keep investment at home, more companies will follow. The question now is simple. Will the UK make the changes necessary to remain a place where global businesses want to stay, grow, and invest?